And we should be live.
And we are live. Welcome to episode number 32 of the Risk Reward Show. My name is Chris Mercado, aka Mr. Risk. And as usual, I am joined by
Mr. Reward.
Yes, and we are here to help you find the upside in your career, in your business ventures, and in your personal life. Today, we will start a new mini series on diversity initiatives, progress, or pandering. And for part one today, we will discuss these monthly heritage celebrations. And we're sure to have some enlightening insights and controversial opinions about that. But before we get started on our main topic, we're going to start off with our usual Risk Reward Weekly Rewind. And Derek's going to start off with Coinbase and direct deposits. What's going on, Derek?
Yeah, so Coinbase is making it very accessible for everyone to, I guess, invest in their coins as well as crypto. But recently, I think like this morning, Coinbase basically said that they're going to allow the US users to have a direct deposit feature to where they can either invest dollars or in USD coin. For me, I really like this move. I think this is, for me, a very good way for your average investor to get involved within crypto. I feel like crypto is really, or Coinbase is really trying to push to be that number one crypto brand. When people think of Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure they want to think of Coinbase also. So I see this as like a huge plus within the crypto space. However, I'm trying to think of like what would be the risks in terms of like people investing their like money. Recently, China has banned all cryptocurrencies. So that's definitely going to take a hit with regards to the prices and stuff like that. But I really can't think of like a really big risk in terms of putting your direct deposit. I mean, I will, because I do it. I feel like I do it now, but it's not a direct deposit. It's just me just putting my cash in there. But I think it's going to be easier for people to just put just set aside 100 like every check or something like that. So I think this is a good move for the crypto space.
So in general, the idea of direct deposits, it's a way of automating a process and it takes away the friction of someone having to set aside money to invest, which is great. The risk here is that friction is removed from a type of investment that currently might be more risky for most investors.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, for higher risk investments, you would kind of want some friction in that. You don't want people to pile in too much money. So what Coinbase is really doing is saying, hey, yes, it's adopting the same measures that others have in terms of direct deposit into IRAs, 401ks, but they're doing it for cryptocurrency. So it's trying to normalize cryptocurrency as, yeah, it's just another type of asset that you can invest in, like you do stocks or index funds via your 401k or your Roth or traditional IRAs. But again, cryptocurrency is still probably on the risk spectrum much higher than investing in index funds.
Yeah.
So that's the only risk to me.
Yeah, that's the only downside that I can think of really. But I mean, just like I said, I think this opens up the world more people now to invest in it. It is very, very risky with regards. There's no like real rules behind it. So I mean, I feel like for those who are already like holding, this is just going to be a way for them to be more involved within the space. But I'm curious to see what Coinbase has next up their sleeve though.
they went public, so they better have some fast growth initiatives to really, sustain that valuation that they have.
Hmm.
They keep their investor base, they attract more investors. So
Most
um,
definitely.
yeah, so hopefully they'll continue to do that.
So what
So
about you?
yeah, for me, speaking of sort of investing in bigger themes, I went to one of the Global Citizen events. So Global Citizen is an org that tries to address poverty and all of its root causes. They did a huge event this past weekend on the 25th, multiple cities, the biggest celebrities, all to raise awareness and also some money for, again, ending global poverty and some of its root causes like, climate change and things of that sort. I attended not only that big event on the 25th that was global, but I also went to a preview event earlier in the week where the Fugees, Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Praz, like they all reunited, which was a huge surprise to the music world. And they came late, right? That was expected.
Stay on brand, baby.
Stayed on brand. That was expected. But they put on a good show, a short show. Again, it was a preview of what was to come, not just for them, but also for Global Citizen. And, as a music fan, I didn't get I was too young to see them in their prime.
Yeah.
And to see them reunite, there's still some magic there, but I will caution people, if you were a huge fan back then, don't expect the exact same thing. It's just too much time has passed, and that magic isn't quite the same, but they still do have magic. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. How about this idea of having lavish festivals and reuniting big
Mhm.
groups, or maybe the Fugees itself? Like, how do you feel about that?
Same thing with what you just said. Like I wasn't around to see like their magic, but just growing up, I literally heard every song that they put out. I feel like for me, like the Fugees was like you had to know what songs they made, or you were just aware of what like their songs were. So I've never got a chance to see them in concert. But just being able to kind of hear their music live, I would definitely love to see that. For me, it'll be like damn, like this is really happening. Like I'm seeing the Fugees, but for those who were able to see them in like their prime to now, I mean, everybody changes. I'm pretty sure they won't be as active. I'm pretty sure like, and plus you said that it was a short set, so I'm pretty sure for their tour, I mean, they have like set songs, so they won't be as active, or like the shows won't be like as long. But I think just for music in general, for a group like that to come back, I think that really means like a lot.
Yeah, they're only reuniting to do the score, like their second album, which was a classic, had hits. I don't expect Lauryn Hill to go into the hits of like the Miseducation album, or Wyclef to
Maybe.
go into his hits. I don't think that's gonna happen. So if you buy a full price ticket to their upcoming tour celebrating the anniversary of the Score album, just know you might just get all the tracks on the Score and nothing more. So keep
Mm,
that in mind. So for me, I got the tickets free, got the access, so wasn't a big deal for me to consider, but it was great to see them. The highlight of it for me on a social good, social impact level was Wyclef addressing how the US is treating Haitian immigrants, Haitian refugees.
yeah.
I am glad Wyclef called President Biden and this entire country out for all that mistreatment. So, that was a highlight for me as someone who's been involved with immigrant rights advocacy, someone who grew up with so many Haitian friends who have looked out for me, and yeah, I'm glad that was addressed. But it brings us to also this bigger issue of how large orgs like Global Citizen, how companies are addressing social ills or trying to help communities. And that actually brings us to this series regarding like diversity initiatives. We wanted to explore whether or not these initiatives are being like impactful, if the promises that companies put out are really coming to fruition. And I think a good way of starting that is on Hispanic Heritage Month, which actually spans 2 months, September and October. Really weird. I think now's a good time to explore how companies are. So we're wondering at the Risk Reward Show, are diversity initiatives a sign of progress, or does it feel like pandering to a lot of us? And we wanted to start with these monthly celebrations for different populations. So you have Black History Month in February, and now you have Hispanic Heritage Month, September and October. And I want to start off, Derek, with the reward side of this. Like, how do you feel about these diversity initiatives that are scheduled like on the calendar? Because these calendars are tracked to, different communities that we want to celebrate. And also, like, what are the rewards for companies and employers when they engage in the celebratory activities according to the calendar?
So I'll give off my facts and then I'll go into my feelings. But the facts behind it is that really like any diversity initiative that any company has, I think is great. The fact that companies are really listening to, the job seekers or their team, and just really saying like, hey, we know that this is something that's, serious for you. So we're going to make sure and do our part to either pledge to it or, dedicate, some time or like some resources behind with whatever the, that goal for that month is. Not only does it help the team in terms of being more, um, and included within like the company, but it also keeps people there much longer. For me, if I'm with a company that is for Black lives, I think I feel welcomed. Therefore, I'm more inclined to stay with that company better because I feel like they have my best, just interests at heart. And also for customers that see that, of course, you're going to gain a lot more customers. There's going to be a lot of more, a lot more brand awareness, and you're going to retain more customers, and customers are going to relate your brand to with however they feel. So all in all, I feel like it's a good thing that companies are aware of, these certain, I guess like goals for like the month, these initiatives throughout the year. And it's good that they have, times to kind of set resources aside to put, their, I guess, put like their money where their mouth is. So if you're going to support Black lives and, pledge like some type of like funds to it, then do that. That goes a long way for your team as well as the customers that you are trying to serve. So that's the facts behind it. I feel like it's a good thing that companies do it. But how I feel about it, I definitely feel like this is like pandering. It's pandering because, one, how I truly feel about it is that you as a person shouldn't have to, or you shouldn't rely on a company to, I guess, push, the initiatives that you feel that are very, very, important to you. Like whether if, Dove supports Black lives, like that doesn't matter to me. Maybe it would, really, possibly like make me want to buy it if they do. But if it really doesn't matter to me, and I think that we shouldn't hold these companies to such a high standard to do what the good in the world is. I mean, running a business and knowing how business operate there, that's not what they're really about. So that's just how I feel about it. But with regards to the pandering part, You have, Black History Month, uh, Pride Month, and like it's to the point to where if you're going on LinkedIn and like you see these, these logos, like it's only there for that time, and then like that's it. So if they were really about it, I feel like some of them, of course, they would put like their logos up, as well as do like put all like those resources like behind it. But if it's outside of that month, they don't talk about it at all. Unless it pops up in like the news or something like that, then they feel like as if they have to say something, and then just reinforce to the public like, oh, like remember we did this here. I mean, the fact that you said that the Fugees, they use global citizens to kind of say like, hey, we're coming up with a tour. Like that's kind of like how it rolls out. I feel like they could have used they could have said that they're going on tour on any other stage. The fact that Wyclef, talked about what's happening at the border, I think that's the perfect place to do it. But for them to say like, hey, we're doing this, but also we're going on tour. I feel like that's not for them is not pandering, but it's just they're using that platform, a platform for fighting poverty to kind of for like their own like good. So that's how I see it in terms of like how companies use these diversity initiatives. So fact wise, I'm happy that it's happening because for people, it really makes them feel connected to companies. But for me, looking at a company and knowing how they operate, I think is bullshit sometimes.
Yo, that is a perfect way that you connected like the Fugees, like a positive message, but the timing of, hey, also starting this Friday, we're gonna start to go on
Yeah.
a tour. So come buy a ticket to our reunion tour. That threw me off,
Mhm.
right? And it really bad optics on it. It reminds me of Naomi Osaka. And we had a conversation when she first took that mental health timeout.
Mhm.
And I understood like this idea of supporting someone who feels like mentally that they are unwell. But we made that argument that having that mental fortitude and having to take on like press conferences, that's part of the job.
Mhm.
Like she signed up for that as a tennis pro. So where do we draw that line? But what happened soon after was Calm, the company, they had like a promotional effort to pay for some like mental well-being services through Calm.
Mhm.
But come to find out, Naomi is a spokesperson for Calm. So there was like a business angle to that as well. And
Yeah.
that felt a little weird, to say kindly, right?
Mhm.
And that brings me to the risks that I see in this idea of like diversity initiatives. So first, if you don't do it at all, then the public might see it as, oh, this company doesn't care, doesn't do anything, doesn't have those heartwarming commercials that feature folks who look like me or folks who struggled like me. So the pressure that companies feel is that, hey, we have to do something, because if we don't, the public might feel ostracized, and we don't want to exclude our customer base, our customer segments. So on a very basic level, business wise, they have to do something. However, when it's done poorly, there's huge risks. It comes across as pandering, not just to the general public, but for your current employees. People will want to leave. It looks like you are just doing this for show. So if you have a whole bunch of like diversity initiatives related to hiring, but 2-3 years into that, whatever strategy it was, whatever DEI strategy it was, and the stats really haven't changed, which applies to a lot of companies in tech particular, then what was it all for? In fact, did you just waste a whole lot of money hiring DEI consultants that, didn't impact the bottom line of getting more talented folks of color, into roles? So that's one thing. And also all of the marketing money and public relations money and partnerships money thrown around just for these feel good, initiatives, like that could have been better spent actually, let's say, putting money directly into affected people's hands. Like that, I would argue, would have been more helpful. So maybe direct grants to businesses owned by folks of color. That would be way more helpful than $1 million ad campaign where you have opening a can of Pepsi and it solves racial tensions and police brutality, right? And if folks don't know what I'm alluding to, I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Please do.
Of
Let's talk about it.
some multicultural marketing gone wrong. So first, you will see, and we're using a site called smartsimplemarketing.com. And we have a few examples of marketing gone terribly bad. So one, yes, if you all remember, I believe this might have been with the Super Bowl, or like around the time of the Super Bowl in 2017. So you had Kylie Jenner, and they had an Asian male lead in the commercial as well, which, like, for me, it was like, finally, some representation of people that look like me. But in this commercial, you had a protest, young people clashing with, again, folks in uniform. And what made people hug at the end was that Kylie Jenner opened a can of Pepsi and handed it to one of the police officers. So problem solved, right?
Yeah.
Let's just share a can of Pepsi and the world is automatically better. And yeah, they got roasted on Twitter. They got roasted all across social media, and deservedly so. Do you know how much money Pepsi paid to consultants, to digital agencies, to celebrities, right? To make this happen? All of that money wasted. Could have gone directly to the causes that they supposedly wanted to affect and impact.
The thing that gets me is like, I want to know. So what's important for these diversity initiatives is that I don't think a lot of companies put the right people in the room too, because if I'm in the room and they're like, yeah, like, we're going to shoot this, ad where, Kylie's going to give the cop like a Pepsi, like no, that doesn't work out. Like, this is in the midst of, I'm pretty sure was this when George Floyd was killed too?
It was around that time. Not sure if it was like right after or like a little bit before.
Yeah. So exactly, like, you have to have the right people in like the room to say like, Pepsi, like, this ain't it. Like, this ain't it, Pepsi.
and the right people doesn't just mean people who look a certain color. It goes beyond that. Like, folks who understand what's going on. By the way, I would want somebody in that room that could actually speak up for law enforcement and what they face. Like that would be a balanced room. I would want that. I hope that's what happened. But clearly for this one, I don't think it did. I don't think it did. But this Pepsi one, I think, was outdone by Dove.
Oh yeah.
So in 2017, Dove had a commercial where a Black woman took off her shirt and then turned into a white woman. Like, literally, the idea of whitewashing just happened. Just happened, Dove. just happened. And I believe Dove has these commercials about, they have like models, like various sizes and ages, right? I love that representation. But for this one, literal whitewashing. What's your reaction to this, Derek? I'm not sure you remember this one.
No, I don't remember this one. My first thing was like, one, what was the point of this? And two, what flavor of Dove was that? So I know not to use that if that's going to happen to me.
You don't want to turn into a white man just by changing your shirt and putting some Dove.
Yeah, I mean, like regardless of what what color the person turns into, like, what's the context behind this? Like I mean, like just by looking at the image, it means so much.
The still is amazing. Like, you don't have to say anything.
No.
But the idea of whitewashing and having work done by folks, Black folks, then like attributed to like white creation. Like, that's what whitewashing essentially is. And you have a literal product involved in washing and cleansing. And like on so many levels, like the idea of that Black might be dirty, but white is clean.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I was thinking, but
yeah,
it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. So this is multicultural marketing gone wrong. So shout out to the folks behind smartsimplemarketing.com for some interesting memories of some marketing initiatives that didn't go wrong. So yes, like those are examples of risks. And Derek's still shaking his head.
Yeah. like what progress was like? That's not even pandering. That's not even progress or pandering. That's just going wrong.
that is gone wrong, but they tried it.
Yeah.
And it was not successful. So look, those are the risks people try. And I have what I think is a novel idea, because I haven't heard it before. I want all companies to stop switching up month by month their campaigns or what groups of people they look out for. So here's my idea. Instead of focusing on initiatives month by month, I am challenging companies to focus solely on one issue per year. Imagine a company like Microsoft dedicating all of their corporate social responsibility funding, all of their employee volunteer hours just to one cause a year, but this concentrated effort by a company to tackle, let's say, climate change for one entire year and ignore everything else for that 1 year. Think about it. That's what we do in companies. We want that laser focus on one project because we want this desired outcome. So instead of switching around, like we get it. Like we've seen this approach for numerous years, and we still have crazy amounts of income inequality. We still have a lack of representation in leadership roles or in tech for people of color. We still have climate change that is like going berserk, right? Like we're like our cities are going to be flooded in years, our coastal cities. So let's try something different. Again, my proposal is that companies stop doing this monthly campaign for Black History Month, for Hispanic Heritage Month, for Asian American Pacific Islander Month. Stop that. Pick one community, one cause for 1 year, concentrate all your resources. Let's see the impact that you can make for that one community, that one cause. I hypothesize that that impact is bigger than the sum of all of these initiatives for the past several years. That's my idea.
Two things I'll say to that. One, you touched on something that was like that just I guess like sparked something, but the fact that companies are changing constantly, especially for these like diversity like managers, consultants, VPs, for them to constantly always kind of change up what the focus is for that month is very, very tiring. Um, so for them to focus on one thing a year, the same way how, you know, like the same thing that you just said, like if there's like a big project, let's focus on that one project and put all of our resources resources towards that. I think not only will the impact be bigger, but on like the person doing it, it'll be a lot easier because they can plan it 10 times better and also focus on it. The potential risks that I see is that the way how cancel culture is like rampantly going around through everything, I definitely see some groups be like, hey, you're not focusing on us. I definitely see like that happening in terms of like if you're gonna focus on climate change for 1 year or you know pride for 1 year, you're gonna have people to say like, hey, like what about us? And that's like the shitty thing about how you know how I guess how like troublesome these like you know things can be in terms of people want to be noticed too.
So I didn't want to reveal this. I don't like the thought of some DI quote expert stealing this idea, right? But
We coined it, it's fine.
we're going to put this out there, but my idea isn't that like that sole year. It's part of a bigger strategic plan. So companies put out this like 5-year plan, 10-year plan. No, I want a 20-year plan from a company that is centered on social impact. And for each year of that 20-year plan, the company devotes all of its corporate social responsibility funding, all of its employee volunteer hours, all of its like partnership, like community social impact money to that one issue for that 1 year within a 20-year social impact strategic plan. That's what I want. That way we can have this longer term vision, but within it, we have this concentrated effort, again, that parallels how we execute on like releasing projects. Like we have this hyper focus, we concentrate all our resources for one big initiative, and you know, hopefully within a time span of a year, we deploy a product in tech, right? And why can't we do that for social causes? So instead of switching month by month, we have a 20-year vision. I like that should decrease the idea of like, well, you're ignoring us. Well, no, we want to focus on you in this particular year because that's part of our strategic plan over the next 20 years. And it took us hundreds of years to get to this point where we have these many social problems. You know, let's give it this 1 year span, but let's plan this out within a 20-year framework where we can still get it addressed in a timely manner. So that's my idea. For all y'all who are gonna steal it, I will come after you.
We want 10%.
Actually, what I would rather do is for the companies who are entertaining this idea, you know, to come to. So, you know, I'd be more than glad to help people plan out that vision, but I think that's a better way right now.
Yeah, that sounds pretty thought out, and I like that hyper focus. I think would do wonders for everybody.
Yes. And that actually brings us to our closing segment, which is our right move right now. And my right move right now is actually, hey, we're in Hispanic Heritage Month. Companies are doing so many events for this month. And if you looked on LinkedIn in particular, you can get access to special career fairs. So especially if you're Hispanic, Latino heritage, I suggest you attend those events. I suggest you do the networking. There's so many connections to be had. And if you're looking for that new role, this is the time. It's also perfectly aligned to one huge wave of hiring. It's hiring season. So take advantage of these events that'll expose you to a lot of professionals. And it's all aligned with these cultural celebratory months.
Cool. My right move right now, I was thinking about it during the entire show, but just basically put your money where your mouth is. I feel like if people are going to be about something, then just be about it. Don't use it for your own personal gain. Really, use it to help others. I feel like more than more than it should happen. You have companies that are pushing these diversity efforts for like their personal gain. Like they know it's good for them in like the long run, so they'll do it instead. But I would definitely want to see more done. And just thinking about like that year long, focus that you just mentioned, I think that's something that'll show their, I guess, like their commitment to actually doing it and to really seeing like these goals through.
Yeah, so if folks have comments about that idea or any of the other points that we brought up, please share that comment on our YouTube channel on this episode. In particular, we appreciate you all with the follows and engagement. We hear things offline that are really constructive, so thank you for that. But again, follow and share and comment so we can keep the conversation going. And we're about to share some clips, some highlights over a series of episodes on LinkedIn, just to let people know what we're about. And again, we're here to help you all find the upside in your careers, your business ventures, and your personal lives. And we're going to do a lot more sharing on LinkedIn like we did in previous months. So thank you again for your support. Derek, any final words?
I'm excited for part 2.
Yes.
I have a lot to say.
Yes. That's right. Our series on diversity initiatives continues next week. So we hope to see you then at our regular time, 5:30 on Mondays, Eastern time.
Yes. All right. See you guys next week.